Hi everyone, welcome back to Build a Neuro Ninja. It's Andrew from Action Your Potential. Hope you're all okay. So we're in the mind management pack and we're asking this question today. Why does my brain worry so much when there's change about? What is worry about? Why does our brain worry so much when change happens? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that you are not alone. Every single person worries. What is worry? We'll come to in a second, but it's really important to understand the moment that a worry happens, we immediately separate ourselves from everyone else and think, I'm worried about this. And we kind of assume that no one else is worried. Every brain worries. It is part of the brain's response to change in the world. Our brain's first job is to get us through every single day as well as possible, avoiding things that are tricky, making sure we meet our deadlines, ensuring that we connect with the people that are important to us. Our brain's job is to manage everything that we get up to. Our brain makes predictions every single day. What it tries to do is it works out what's going to happen next, and it uses its previous experiences to do that. So it looks out into the world, and if there's change in the world, it then tries to predict what's going to happen. So that person didn't return that text. What does that mean? I've got that deadline coming up. How do I make sure that I've got all the resources that I need to achieve that deadline? Basically, a worry is a problem that the brain is thinking about a lot in order to try and identify that particular solution. The problem we have with our brain, if it's experiencing change and we don't know what's going to happen because we've not experienced that before, our brain doesn't have enough information to make a good guess about what happens next, and that problem spotting turns into worrying. So basically, what a worry is a problem the brain hasn't experienced before. Therefore, as it makes guesses, it can't really work out exactly what's going to happen because it hasn't had those experiences. It can't draw on its previous experiences, and we end up in this kind of cycle of worrying. Oh no, what's going to happen? I'm not really sure. So, what is this? What even is this question here? 100 minutes against 240 minutes. Well, basically, 100 minutes is how long an adult brain worries every day. 240 minutes is how many minutes a child's brain spends worrying. Why is there that difference? 100 minutes against 240 minutes. Children worry for 240 minutes a day. Adults worry for around 100 minutes a day. That's an awful lot of worry in both brains. But why do children worry more than adults do? Because adults' brains have had more experiences of the world, so they've got more answers to change because they've had previous experiences, so their brains worry a little less. Remember, a worry is a problem for which the brain can't predict what's going to happen, a problem for which the brain has no solution currently. Young people's brains worry more than adults because they've had less experience of the world. It's not our fault that we haven't learnt a huge amount about the world yet if we're only 14. It's not our fault if we haven't learnt a huge amount about the world if we're only 11. It's not our fault if we haven't learnt lots about the world if we're in our early 20s. There's lots and lots of experiences that our brain has yet to have. So it hasn't got the answers. But other people's brains do have some of those answers, which gives us a clue as to some of the solutions. Worries are problems that we can't solve yet because we don't know what to do or the answers in the future. So you might worry about your GCSE results. What GCSE results am I going to get? You might worry about a quiz or a test result. What test result or quiz result am I going to get? Because the answers in the future, we don't know. So the brain can worry about it because it hasn't got a solution. When brains don't have enough information, their guesses can be wild and catastrophic. We can imagine, oh, I'm going to fail all my GCSEs and all those things I want to do in the future aren't going to happen. Oh, that person didn't send me a reply to that text. That means they don't like me anymore and they're never going to see me again and they're going to talk to all my friends and they're never going to talk to me again either. Those guesses aren't much help at all, actually, when the brain gets into a real pickle because it hasn't got answers. It just worries and worries and worries and worries. And those catastrophizing thoughts are a species of thought called a cognitive distortion. We've got other videos on those. So we live in a brain built for survival, not happiness. So that is why it constantly spots problems in the world. And if we haven't got a solution readily available, the brain worries away at that solution. Those worries, those cognitive distortions, come in all flavors. There's all or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, blaming, jumping to conclusions. I bet you've had some of those thoughts. So how can we help ourselves with our worries? We need to pace ourselves. When we've got a worry, we need to do PACE. We need to pause and we need to wait a minute. Have I experienced this issue before? So I'm moving to a new school. Have I experienced that situation before? Well, not exactly, but I have moved classes before. We need to pause and just check to see whether or not the problem that we're experiencing has got a solution in our own experience. Second of all, we need to apply awareness and notice what kind of thinking. Are we catastrophizing? Are we minimizing? Are we trying to second guess what other people are thinking? We then need to write down the kind of full terrifying details of the worry. You know, oh, I'm going to move schools. I'm not going to be able to keep in contact with my previous friends. I'm not going to be at new. We need to write all that stuff down. And then we need to take a deep breath. Maybe walk outside for a bit, calm ourselves down, turn on our parasympathetic nervous system, use our 12 rocks of well-being to get us in a calm space, to turn on the circuits at the top of our head. And we need to determine the likelihood of any of those scenarios, and we need to evaluate what might be the possible solution. We could use a grid like this to do that. So we're moving to a new school. That's the core issue. Possible solutions are whatever those solutions are. They could be about making contact with people. That could be seeing if we know anyone already, talking to the people in the new school, the staff, to see what they do to help students connect, and then possible actions. And often it's about waiting. In the 21st century, with all the complexity we face, where the answers are often in the future, we might need to wait a bit. And we need to be really clear that actually there aren't solutions to everything because the answers are in the future. Worry isn't going to help us if we're just going over and over a problem the brain's already identified. Remember, the neuroscience of it is cognitive distortions are the emotional brain's way of alerting the whole brain to the problem that is spotted. I've spotted a problem. I've spotted a problem. I've spotted a problem. The trouble with certain kinds of problems is we don't have the answers yet, and they can become worries that just go round and round our brain like a coin going round and round in a washing machine. Our brain, our mind, was not built to cope with the modern world. It was built to cope with a time that no longer exists. A time when there weren't many complex worries. There weren't GCSEs, there weren't A-levels, there weren't careers to get, there weren't social media. It was quite a simple existence. So there are many more problems in the world that our brain will experience now for which it doesn't have answers. Which means nowadays, if we don't manage our mind, we can get stuck with lots of negative thinking and lots of worries because we're living in this psychologically intense environment. So what do we do when we're experiencing a worry? We need, first of all, to notice that we're worried about something and practice self-compassion. If your friend's worried about something, you don't say, oh, don't worry about that. That's just daft. That's just, why are you worrying about that for? Which is what we might say to ourselves. We need to show self-compassion first. I'm worried. That's really upsetting. Secondly, we need to apply awareness and think, right, what is the nature of the problem that worry is going on about? Is the answer available? Is that answer available in someone else's brain? Can I ask someone about it? Can I ask a friend about it? Can I ask an adult about it? A teacher, a parent, a carer? We need to just be aware that we've got a problem that there isn't a solution for yet. We need to verify underneath the worry what is the actual core problem, and we need to evaluate the options for a response. So might need to wait for more information. I could ask that person. We need to save ourselves, practice self-compassion, awareness, verify the issue, evaluate the options. We need to manage our worries by using SAVE. So, in times of change, our brain is going to not always have the information to solve a problem. So it's going to worry more. Practice SAVE to manage your worries every day. And the expectation is, as we move into adulthood, our worries will reduce, but they will never ever be eliminated because our brain will not always have the answers. It will get more answers as it has more experience. But having a worry is the brain's way of spotting a problem for which it doesn't have an answer yet. Thanks for listening. See you next time.